Is that still wobbling? No, good. So with wedding photography, there's always, how do I put this? With wedding photography, I think even though we've all got digital cameras these days, we all wish that we could shoot film quality in digital. And some cameras do allow you to do that, or give you that sort of tone. I'm not an expert on the Fujis, but apparently they give you a really nice filmic quality. But a lot of the time, when you edit, you can do that. You can just add that afterwards. So what I'm going to show you, folks, is how you can create that rustic film look for your wedding photography. And not even that, for your portraits, for your whole photography across the board. So let's jump straight in then. Let's jump to Lightroom. And on my most recent wedding, I'm just going to reset these photos actually, because I've already given them a quick edit. So let me just double check they're not. Yeah. Okay. So let's jump straight in then. So we've got to be in Lightroom CC to do this. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to add a tone curve. Now this is already inbuilt in my preset, but I'm literally going to talk you through my preset. So what we're going to do with the preset, well, first of all I'm going to raise that, I'm going to add a little, first of all I'm going to add something in the sort of bottom left hand corner of the curve. Then I'm going to drag that bottom corner up quite high. Now what that will give me is just sort of matte, like a matte effect with your shadows, which I think is a really quite a cool look. Now if you think that's too much, then play around with the curve and where you think it should go. And you can as well, just to change the shape of the curve, you can just add different points throughout the curve. So you can do that as well. So you can, you know, really brighten your highlights at the top, or you can, you know, add a lot more contrast, that sort of thing. But I prefer just quite a gentle S curve really, up until that bottom corner where we lift those, where we lift those shadows. So that's done. And the next thing I would do is play with my colours. Now I would go down to the HSL colour black and white tab, and now most photographers, or most wedding photographers, or if you're anything like me, you see a lot of green on a daily basis, especially when you shoot weddings. So what we're going to do, we're going to take that green out of there. So let's drop that green to about, I don't know, well I was going to say minus 50%, but oh, it seems to be giving me a rating, so let's drop that at about minus 70. Let's drop that. And what that will allow us to do is to raise the other colours, and they'll pop a little bit more, because there's always so much green in wedding photography. So we can drop the blues and the yellows and the oranges, we can sort of drop a little bit as well, but we can really raise the reds, blues and purples, keeping those oranges quite subtle. That looks quite cool. Okay, good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to burn a graduated filter into the top. So I'm going to double click. For some reason my preset graduated filter always seems to give me a load of saturation, a bit of clarity, so I don't want that. All I want to do is just darken it a little bit. Now you could say, well, why don't you just use a vignette? Well, I don't want to darken down all four corners, so that's the reason for that. And my last thing I want to do is just pick up the vibrance, but I really want to just drop the saturation. Now I've heard some people call this reverse saturation, which is quite a cool way to put it. So that's what I think I'm going to do, and I think I'm just going to pick up those shadows a bit, drop the highlights because I haven't lost any detail. Let's see what my whites are looking like when I hold my finger on Alt. And the same with black, until we see any pixels come in. So I haven't got any perfectly black photos in, pixels in. So this is quite a low contrasty image, which is perfect for that film look. So that is one image done. Let's move on to the next one. This is more of a stock image really, but again, what we'll do is we'll just add that curve in, and again, look at the groom's what he was wearing. It just blocks out those shadows a bit and makes it look a bit cooler. Some people love the detail, but recently it's a bit of a fashion statement. I don't. I've just started getting rid of all those shadows. So that's one thing that I do. And then we'll go down to, we'll just raise those highlights a tad. Not too much though, because the white of the wedding dress will just completely blow out. We'll get rid of those greens, drop those yellows, and now what we want to pop is the pink. So let's get the magenta and the purple a little bit higher. See, that's a nice and easy image to do really. Quite like the composition of this. It's kind of cool. And let's just drop those shadows up, and what would look good? Do we want to see behind? Do we want to let all that shadow, that highlight detail in, or should we blow it out? Yeah, let's drop it down. We can see a little bit what's behind them. Yeah, let's drop it down. Add a little bit of contrast, and because we've not got faces in this, I'm going to add a bit of clarity in this. I'm going to go 10, and I'm going to sharpen a touch. Because they've both got nice hands and fingers and stuff, so that won't raise any alarm bells. So that looks quite nice. Okay, and then moving on to the final image. This is a raw photo shot at 1.8 ISO 100 at 35mm with 1/4000th of a second. The first thing I want to do here is just straighten on my horizon, which I think is pretty much bang on anyway. I'm going to do things differently here. First of all, I'm going to drop a graduated filter in. So I'm going to double click on the saturation and the clarity, because I don't want any saturation or clarity in this. I just want to reduce the exposure, and I'm just going to reduce the highlights and take out the shadows. Actually, I'm actually going to pick up the highlights because it will just punch in that bit of cloud on the top left hand corner, which looks cool. Okay, that's that done. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my shadows and my highlights. So I'm going to drop my highlights so they're not so sinister, and raise those shadows. That's cool. It's starting to pop a little bit now. That's good. And we have a bit of fun with the white point and the black point as well. So there's a lot of tonal range in this picture. That's starting to look quite cool, isn't it? Now let's do my greens. Now let's do my tone curve. Whoa, oopsie daisy. And you can play around with what you think looks good and what you don't think looks good. But remember that film quality, you just want those muted shadows. That's what you're after. And then let's get rid of those greens. So straight away that gives you that film look, and I think it's a really, really nice look as well. Let's drop those yellows and those oranges. And if we pick up the blues, look what happens to the background. That just looks epic, doesn't it? Cool, and let's get a bit of shining up there. That looks quite cool. A little bit of masking. And that looks pretty cool. So I mean, that is, I was going to actually drop a radial filter over the top of them to make them pop even more, but because of what's going on, because I've reduced the saturation, because I've darkened the sky, we don't need to. Because of the bride's bright white dress, it's popping naturally because the sun, as we can see, was to my left, and it's really catching them really nicely. I might just tip the white balance to the right, actually, make it a little bit warmer. And I'm just going to drop the exposure on that sky a touch. Let's add a little bit of clarity, just a tad, go to about 10. Good. Right, so that's literally how you do it. I'm actually going to burn in the foreground, so I'm going to do it like a reverse graduated filter to make it look like we had the flash to isolate our subject. So that looks pretty cool, I think, and that's pretty much how you do it. So let's just have a quick look through those. So pressing the / key, that's the raw file, and that's where we are. So it's quite a subtle change. And the next one, that's the raw file, that's what we've made it. So we've just made those pinks pop. And finally, that's the raw file. So it was quite a nice raw file, but quite flat, you might say. And then we've made it look really, really cool. So it really is as simple as that. So I hope you've enjoyed this little quick video on how to achieve that filmic, rustic look, especially with your wedding photography. It's very trendy, it's very popular at the moment, and it's all about that tone curve and desaturating your pictures, which I haven't done on this last one. So let's just pick up the vibrance and we'll just reduce that saturation, and I think that was all it needed. That looks really cool. So I'm going to full screen them and just have a look once more. Yeah, I'm happy with them. Very good. So, did I just say very good to myself? I did, I think. So, thanks for watching, folks. As always, yesterday's vlog was a bit of a difficult one. It absolutely does my head in when people say, oh, just feel free to move what you want. That is basically code for, I haven't cleaned up and I can't be bothered. And it's really quite frustrating, to be honest. That was me shooting some property and it was not easy, so do check that one out and do make sure you hang around to see tomorrow's vlog as well. But as for now, see you soon. Give me a like, comment, subscribe if you're just feeling a bit crazy. Loads of content like this, and remember to tell your friends. See you soon, folks. Ta-da.